Hey guys, how's it going? It's Alpha here. Thanks for joining me for another Puzzle and Dragons video. Today I'm actually tackling one of the toughest dungeons in the game. Um, I guess right now it seems like Mech Hera sure is the toughest, but this is a Mythical plus level co-op dungeon that has kind of happened to be running solo. I was running it with a partner and we weren't able to get through it with the teams that we could put together. So I thought, why don't I try and do it on my own with my Raw Dragon team? And this is kind of the result here. So you start off with Gaia, who's pretty standard. You know, her mechanic is that 5-turn fire enhance, kind of a pain. And I wasn't able to get through even with a full multiplier. So I go and have to go with a 9x here because I didn't have enough wood orbs on the board, but the 9x is able to finish her off. So moving right along, you get Athena, who has a pretty buffed up amount of hit points. She's got a little over 7 million hit points. She does kind of her standard things here, which means her first turn is kind of free. It's a status shield. After that, she has a whole bunch of stuff. You know, you can see it right up above. But as you can see again, I just did not. I could have got a 9x there. I just did a whole bunch of nothing. Is what ended up happening. And that's not the last time it happens in this dungeon. The team is very strong and kind of you know, if anything, this is kind of a testament to how great Raw Dragon and his optimal team really is. So you can see here, I do again a 9x attack there. You know, I wasn't able to get the heart orbs matched up, and at this point, she starts messing with your board. She'll do some large attacks and make some different orbs. So I thought it was probably best to use one of my actives. So I have my red collie, who definitely comes in handy a bit in this dungeon. So I go right ahead, and there we go. There's a full multiplier. Cascade some fires down at the bottom, get a little skyfall luck, and that's definitely going to be enough to take out Athena. I've got Machine Hera on the brain. I'll beat that dungeon at some point. Anyways, here's Zeus Dios. You know, he has his preemptive, which is that 31,000 attack, which is why I put up Isis's shield to help make sure I can tank that hit. And you can see again, we don't have all the orbs needed on the board. We were missing light there, but we were able to kind of get a lucky skyfall, and I had a nice column of light just fall right onto the board, and Zeus Dios is no more. Here we have Beelzebub, and again, he's got a pretty decent amount of hit points here. We got 8.25 million hit points. Here you see we do have a board that we can activate on, and I go through, connect. Actually, that is all of my attacking TPAs are made on that move, fire, dark, and light, so that's pretty much going to be it for Beelzebub. Getting a 9 combo with everyone getting TPAs on their attack, that's going to do it for sure. So moving on to Zeus Stratios, who can be pretty challenging for some teams where constantly hitting 6 combos is a bit of a challenge, but with Raw Dragon, with the amount of time extends and just the nature of his active, you're always going to be shooting for at least 6 combinations. So he's really not too tricky in that respect, and you just kind of have to look out for some of his moves here. So going through, this is not the best setup. You know, I could have tried to leave the 2 hearts on the board vertically, but I just kind of decided to go for the 9x, knowing that I'd you know, be able to get that, and that was going to have to be it for that turn. So seeing the board here, I actually, again, I can get a 9x attack, and I looked at the attacks that Zeus Stratios could use, and I knew he wouldn't be able to kill me. So I went ahead, I used my Isis to make sure I wasn't going to get hit too hard, and I wanted to do some diagonals there to match up that last bit of jammers, but it just wasn't happening. So really that turn was just healing back up. It really didn't do much for me, and I realized here that I did not want to use my Indra shield So I went ahead and actually used my Dark Kali active. I had to try and go for the kill here because he was going to keep creating jammers and just messing up the board. You know, the monsters that will go and mess with changing orb types really can make it tough for Raw Dragon. So you can see here, I once again swoop right on through and I get my Dark, Light, and Fire TPA. So even though it's only a 6 combo, the Light on Dark there does quite a bit of damage, and I have my TPAs to boot. Okay, so moving on, we have Elia as the boss here. And I actually saw someone that ran it the first time, and they said, "Oh my god, I got an invade on the boss." But you know, Elia is the boss, and she does drop, so that's pretty cool. I kind of go right for everything here. I use Indra, I use Dark Kali, and I use Raw Dragon, which gives me a bunch of time. And I figure that I can get through. You know, I wanted to scoop up that dark, again, make that dark TPA so that I was able to, you know, go dark on light and get some good damage out of my Dark Kali. And really, I could have tried to do the same thing for my Red Kali. But, you know, I get her down, I guess 75% roughly. And you can see, obviously, the attacks she does, I mean, you can see them right above me. They're insane. If you don't have a big shield and you don't have some way of dealing with the amount of damage she could output, you will not last long unless you one-shot her, which at 10 million hit points is a pretty tall order. And you can see there, I matched up 9, and I didn't even break her defense, or for a 9x attack, I should say. Didn't break her defense. So I knew at this point, see, on this board, I can actually fully activate, and I think this is just a pretty horrible flub. Let's see how I do here. So I'm looking at the top blue, obviously, trying to get those over. And then I make a mistake right there by leaving those vertical. And that pretty much wraps it up. Because once you kind of mix some vertical and horizontal, the board space just disappears. And that was just a really stupid move on a pretty tough dungeon. So again, this team is just very powerful, and Indra's shield is ridiculous. So it kind of kept me alive. So I knew at this point my shield with Indra was up, and unfortunately, as you can see, I do not have a board I could activate on anymore. So I was going to try and set myself up for a Skyfall and just kind of hope for the best. And really, that's pretty much what I do here. I go through, I match up again. I actually match up for a 9x, and I do get the Skyfall into a full activation, the full 64x, and it actually is enough. So that is probably the toughest dungeon I've cleared in this game to date, and it was kind of dumb. Sacrifices were made there. You know, I used a stone to get in, and after the stamina overflow, I was only down 20 stamina and ranked up. So, you know, what are you going to do? Anyways, that's a Mythical Plus co-op dungeon cleared solo. So, pretty neat stuff. And if it's your first time checking out the channel, please like, subscribe. I'm coming out with new videos all the time. So stay tuned, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.